Okay, woo, what a film. Okay, please welcome four-time Oscar winner, Catherine Martin. She is nominated this year as a costume designer, production designer, and a producer. Hi, Catherine.
Hello, warning you now, I have no mic technique, as my husband would say. No mic technique. He's always side coaching me whenever I have a mic, so I'm having a little bit of post-traumatic stress syndrome.
By the way, I just want to say thank you to all the artisans here tonight because they have flown in Catherine's case, from Australia, right?
Yes, last night.
Around the world to be here tonight. Some have come straight from LA from the luncheon earlier, so we're really grateful that you're all here. Catherine, congratulations on the incredible work on Elvis.
Thank you so much, Des.
What a lot of people don't know about the film is that the costumes and the production design was all done in Australia.
Yes, every last thing.
The film spans decades from, young Elvis to the 70s. Where do you even begin with starting,
Well, you
building
start
the
with Baz and his vision for an incredible movie. He's been talking about Elvis for 30 years, and I kind of didn't get it. That's me usually. I didn't get Gatsby either. Because I'd read it at school and I thought, I don't know about this book. And then he said, listen, you've got to stop pontificating. Your opinion as a 15-year-old is meaningless. Go upstairs and read the book straight away. It's good that I actually listened to him because then I was the convert. I loved the book when I reread it as a much older person. But it starts with his vision. He will come, he'll tell you the story with sound effects and a lot of sound effects, voices. He really liked playing Priscilla. And he'll also bring tear sheets and reference images and little scribbles he's drawn as kind of starting points. And then that's kind of the foundation of the collaborative journey. And it always is about research. It's incredibly intensive. He spent on and off over 18 months at Graceland. Karen Murphy and I, my co-production designer and my long-time design associate, Chris Tangy, went on a number of reconnoiters to Graceland. We did a big drive through the south to really kind of imbibe the feeling because, as I think you might imagine, we were incredibly nervous being Australians trying to recreate the South in Australia. We were like, the recipe for disaster. So we were really focused on trying to understand more than just the historical context, but also the topography of the landscape, the way that the trees felt, the way that driving from one tour spot to another might have felt for Elvis. So, yes, it starts with an exploration of, certainly in this movie and most of our movies, in historical fact, so that you are well versed and everything is at your fingertips when it starts to be about making selections that help tell a story.
You talked about the research. What struck you about Elvis's style and the evolution of that?
I mean, Elvis was just a natural stylist. I mean, he was extraordinary because, in my view, this is completely me. I'm not an Elvis scholar, so I'll probably be, pilloried, cancelled on the internet for saying this. But to me, there are two things that Elvis was confident about. He suffered from stage fright all his life. He was a tormented artist to a large degree. But two things, I think, when he was singing and when he was in the middle of the music, he was completely one with it and totally confident. And the other thing is about creating his look, both on and off stage. And he just had a kind of innate talent and ability to express the character that he wanted to be for his audience through clothes. And it is extraordinary when you think, he came from very humble beginnings, the first person in his family to graduate high school. So it's not like he was drawing on this enormous cultural lexicon of clothing, and he single-handedly created a style that is iconic and recognised all over the world.
Yeah. And the 1968 special, that leather suit, which is, everybody knows it, we saw it in the clip. Talk about recreating that and the leather textures that you had to, the right leather, I guess.
So the original designer of the 68 special clothes was a man called Bill Ballou, who was the costume designer at NBC in that period. And he designed that signature kind of Napoleonic collar and went on also to design Elvis's jumpsuits later in the 70s. For us, the black leather suit was sort of a watershed moment because we had access to the real leather suit. We measured every belt loop, every collar stand, every little inch of the suit was measured. I'd actually seen it in person. We'd been able to, from all of these measurements, actually make a replica of the suit as it is historically. And we realised, I think the three of us, Austin, Baz and I, in that moment, that when you just slavishly reproduce things, they ended up feeling a bit like Halloween costumes. And that it was not doing Elvis justice or Austin's interpretation of Elvis. And so Baz came up with a really good construct, I think. He said, we're Bill Ballou, Elvis is our Austin, and we're going to make the black leather suit exactly as it was in the past, but for Austin. And so it's really subtle changes, but they make all the difference. Elvis had a different height of neck than Austin. Everybody's butt is slightly different, so you move the pockets just marginally. And somehow, from a blurry kind of almost vulgar picture, we were able to collectively bring that suit into focus with very minor changes, but I think it made all the difference. And then, of course, there's the secret weapon, and that is Austin Butler. So in Strictly Ballroom, I think Fran, who's the ugly duckling, says, when they're saying you're going to be great, you look great, go out, wow them, they're remembering how her mother was glamorous, and she says yes, or they say in the movie, my mother could wear a potato sack and still light up the stage, and that also is what Austin does. I always feel very self-conscious when people want to put film costumes into an exhibition, because to me they always look like kind of discarded carcasses or kind of like cicada shells on the side of the road, because the thing that's important about a costume is the alchemy between the actor and the clothes. And without the actor, it's just a leather pants and a kind of slightly dodgy blouson on with weird pieces of elastic on the inside to, tie it to the top, to the bottom. But yes, the actor is the key to bringing clothes alive. That's why the whole of the fashion industry chases actors to embody the feeling of the clothes, because they do such a good job of bringing those things to life through character.
I want you to share quickly the story about how you discovered how Elvis did his buttons and how that helped you with designing the shoulders and the jackets.
So Elvis in the mid-50s wore a lot of structured 50s suiting, quite boxy in shape with big shoulders. And we were working on a few jackets that kind of fell into that category, particularly Rustwood, which is such an important part, turning point in the film. And it's just a black suit. And we just couldn't crack it because Baz kept talking about how the clothes had to work with Elvis's movement, his shocking sexuality needed to be really connected with the clothes, and you're kind of thinking, a black suit, shocking sexuality, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. This is a tall mountain to climb. And I just couldn't make the jacket work, and we made, I kept thinking, is it that there's too much structure inside it? Are the shoulder pads too big? Is it not close enough to the body? Do we need to make it less boxy? Do we need to make it more boxy? What are we doing wrong? And I remember in a fitting where poor Austin had to try on like 300 black jackets. We just could not get it to work. And finally we were looking at the video of Elvis at Rustwood, and we also looked at him on the Steve Allen Show and in a number of other television appearances, and we realised the key was on these two button jackets. They were jackets with two buttons. He never did the top button up, ever. And the minute we left that top button up, it gave room in the shoulders so Elvis could actually roll his shoulders and you had a sense of his chest. And the jacket became sexy. And it was just kind of so crazy that we'd watched all this stuff for years and not noticed it. And in that moment, thank God we noticed.
Everybody's going to go home and watch those videos and be like, right. Catherine, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'll see you for the panel conversation. Stay here for a second, and we are going to bring up a clip from Babylon.